Good evening, everyone. Welcome. This is Pamela Marie Edmunds, and this is Love Never Dies radio show being broadcast here on Zoom from the beautiful Red Rocks of Sedona, Arizona. Gorgeous. And we're pushing about 90 degrees here today. And it's definitely a day to be running the air conditioner in the car and in the house. And it's kind of the time I start to hibernate a little bit, but it's still gorgeous. It is spectacular. So I am a host, a medium, evidential medium. I also do trance. I'm a trance channel, I choose to call it, and animal communicator. I think I've covered most of the main things that we want to cover there for you. Yes. And have been doing radio now for over 20 years, been doing mediumship and readings for about 20 years too. And want to let you know that Love Never Dies radio show is divinely guided by spirit. I ask them, who do I bring on for guests? Where do I find these guests? And then, of course, whatever topics that are pertinent will come forward through spirit. And that's a wonderful gift. So what I want to let you know is any information that you may need in regards to getting on this show, listening to it in the future, is all posted on my website, PamelaMarieEdmunds.com. It also has I do a mediumship class I'm teaching on Thursday evenings, an open circle. You can check that out if you are sensing spirit, hearing spirit, and want to learn a little bit more about how to work with spirit. It's a great opportunity. I also want to say I do also offer services, and those are all listed on my website, the various types of readings. And another great resource for you is my YouTube channel. Every single show that I produce, yep, I'm host and producer, and record, gets saved on my YouTube channel, and that's Pamela Marie Edmunds. I also have numerous channelings on there from various higher beings, Archangel Michael, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's a dear beloved friend of mine. Archangels, we said, okay, some of the ascended masters, Saint Germain's on there. There's about 25 different beings that have opted to come through and communicate. And they all have a little different message and a different flavor of communication. So that's all good information there for you. So in the future, if you're looking to find out what is Pamela doing on the show, what's going on, you can always go to my website. Okay. Also Facebook page. So tonight, I've got a wonderful guest, somebody I've known. We were just talking, trying to figure out how many years we've known each other. I want to say at least 20. Okay. Well, over 20 probably. And she also resides where I was born, in the state of Massachusetts. And want to welcome a dear friend, Reverend Lorraine Radice. I hope I'm saying that right after all the years. Great. And you're currently living in what part of Massachusetts?
Woburn, Mass.
You're in Woburn, but you're talking to us from where?
Rochester, New York.
Ah, okay. You're up there to do some workshops and service. Okay, wonderful, wonderful. And let me read your bio, then we'll get talking, because tonight's show is going to be a unique one for people to hear. And it's titled Physical Mediumship Explained. Okay, so we have Reverend Lorraine Radice of the Church of the Spiritual Growth, NSAC, in Burlington, Massachusetts. She's a longtime member of the National Spiritualist Association of Churches, National Spiritualist Teaching founding member of the Church of Spiritual Growth, its former pastor, and has served as a board member and committee member at the local and national levels. She lectures and teaches a wide variety of workshops at churches and camps throughout the U.S. Well, that's what you're doing. With over 30 years of study and experience, and having studied under many talented and well-established NSAC spiritualists, Lorraine, ordained minister and a certified, ordained minister and certified medium. She uses her unique gifts and spiritual insight to inspire unfoldment and enlightenment of everyone she meets. I like that. That's nice, Lorraine.
Thank
So,
you.
yeah. Well, you and I have some similar stomping grounds, should we say? For those who don't know, Massachusetts has a large amount of spiritualist churches. What would you say? There's probably 6 or so?
Yeah.
Sound
Between
about right?
NSAC and independent, there's a lot more than 6 now.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And then even if you step into, say, New Hampshire, there's a couple independents up there. Connecticut, there's a number of churches there, and New York, Maine. So all of New England is a kind of a hot spot. And I want to say, for not just spiritualism, but for the development of mediumship, right?
True.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So how did you get into this, Lorraine? Have you been gifted with communication or receiving communication spirits into a little girl, or what?
Oh, yeah, since I was little.
Okay.
And I was just a real brat. My parents would say, "Stop doing that. Don't talk to the dead people." I'd be like, "No, they're more fun. I'm doing it anyway." I'd make ectoplasm and get in trouble a lot.
Right. And your mom was in and around spiritualism as you were growing up,
my
right?
mother completed the MPI healing course. She was on the board of the Chapel of Peace in Medford, who was one of my mentors, the Reverend Ida Donadio, who I sat with for over 10 years.
Right. Well, and the wonderful thing is we have these mentors who have such wonderful knowledge, and then they pass over to spirit. They still mentor us.
Oh, yeah. She speaks to me a lot when I'm teaching. Absolutely.
And it's an awesome gift. It's an awesome opportunity. So,
Absolutely.
So Lorraine, I do need to say, I know, okay, you're Reverend, you're a certified medium, and
National
you're
spiritualist teacher.
Okay. And I know that I know it's not been an easy path for you. Can I nicely say that?
Absolutely.
And you've had a lot of wonderful support. Okay. I don't know how much you want to dabble into this area, but I want to say is for you to come to the point where you are here now, Reverend, you're well, and you're working with spirit and you're helping others. You've had quite a journey, a journey. Now, can you think of any special experiences that prompted you and saying that you needed to walk this path? You needed to
Every time I'm successful, I just get redirected back to reading and teaching and studying, and it's been a lifelong journey, and many times I've been out with a great career and bam, you shut down, and I'm redirected back to this path. And finally I just took the hint. Every time I try and do what I want, it doesn't work.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of the truth when you work with spirit.
Yeah, I was meant to do this, and that's the path I'm supposed to be on.
And I do know, and I want to say, and we were just talking briefly with a couple of our audience, our guests, our joiners, should we say, who are present with us tonight. I want to mention, that you've been open to working with spirit, but you haven't been working with spirit for your whole lifetime. You've done a lot of travel, and and you're traveling here now too, obviously. So,
Well, I've always worked with spirit, I just not in the public realm.
okay.
I've always allowed myself to be guided by spirit since I was a very small child.
Okay.
And when I'm not out and studying and teaching in public, I've always been working with spirit. And I'm here to tell you spiritual healing works. Absolutely. If I didn't work with spirit, I would not be here today.
Well, and I want to get a confirmation too on my end here too. Having the ability to ask for help from them and listen,
Exactly.
and then follow through. It is totally important. So,
you have to accept and allow.
Right. And I too, can relate to having been through some major
We've got
health issues.
similar experiences. Absolutely.
Right. So Lorraine, our topic tonight is Physical Mediumship Explained.
Right.
May I ask, I'm going to put it nice, bluntly, how is it that you know about this stuff? Not everybody talks about this.
Oh, well, I was always making ectoplasm. Didn't really know much about it.
Can you tell them what ectoplasm is?
I
don't mean to cut you off, but it's when we put out words that people aren't necessarily going to understand.
I'm actually going to demonstrate some later.
Awesome. Can you explain? Explain.
I was doing physical mediumship, didn't understand it. Ida saw it because I had to shit with her every week, multiple times. Started teaching me about it. God rest the Reverend Sharon Snowman. Always worked with me on it. Reverend Barbara Thurman. These were such knowledgeable people. And just being around them and listening, I soaked up so much information. And I studied. I've read tons of books. I studied quantum mechanics and put it all together, and now I'm demonstrating it. So ectoplasm, spirit, does not have form. We have form because we're water. We have so much water in our bodies. So in order for spirit to take form and do levitation, materializations, even table tipping, slates, precipitated painting, planchettes, which is like a Ouija board. Without the fingers, you stick the pencil in and it goes, things like that, all need ectoplasm and etherealization also. So what they do is they take protoplasm or cytoplasm, the scientists can't decide which, and it's a jelly-like membrane on the shells of your body, and they extract the water from it. And it comes in 3 types: gaseous, liquid, and solid. Gaseous looks like a mist or a little fog. That's used for overshadowing, which is so common in circles, which is different than transfiguration, which is a silvery mask in front of your face. That's solid ectoplasm. Overshadowing is with gaseous ectoplasm, and that's when your face changes. Like it would look like I'm wearing glasses, or my facial features will change. That's overshadowing. Etherealization is also with gaseous ectoplasm. Liquid is found most commonly in healing. So if you're sitting in a spiritualist church in the healing chair, you're not being sweated on. It's ectoplasm. It's liquid. It goes right back to the medium who's giving you the healing. And solid, they'll make rods, and that's how they levitate tables. It's also used for trumpet mediumship. Materializations, which is where a person or an object will just appear and completely appear. Apports, where something will come from the ceiling. The West Allis Church in Wisconsin was famous because rose petals would fall from the ceiling during the church services.
Wow.
Yeah, it
Wow.
hasn't happened for a while, but I'm certain there's an apport medium getting ready to come in there. But apports can also be when something slides across your counter or goes from one room to the next room. Those are reports.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so much that they do. But what I do want to speak about is trumpet mediumship. A lot of people think it's independent voice. It's not. It's direct voice because the trumpet is connected to the medium. And the trumpet is a cylinder in 3 or 4 parts. It's metal. We put reflective tape or bands on it, and it will fly about the room and come up to somebody's ear, and the spirit will speak through it. There's a million different types of trumpet mediumship, but that's the most common that you're going to read about.
Okay.
And that is direct voice because the medium is connected to the trumpet. Independent voice is when it comes out of thin air.
Wow. Now, the beginning of what we call modern spiritualism, back in the
1848 with the Fox sisters, who I have right here.
Good.
Can you see them? Yeah.
Right. And you want to tell the story about what happened with them for listeners?
Charles B. Rosner was a peddler, and few people owned the house before the Fox sisters, but the gentleman who owned the home murdered the peddler and buried him in the wall of the cellar, and nobody knew for years until the Fox family moved in, and the peddler started rapping, and so the girls made a game of it, and eventually they had an alphabet. They were communicating back and forth. This was the advent of modern spiritualism today. And in 1849, they demonstrated it in Corinthian Hall in Rochester, New York, I believe. Am I correct?
Yes, it's where you are right now.
Yeah, and that really took off. They started demonstrating it everywhere. They were ridiculed, criticized, but they kept going. God loved them. And they really were fantastic ambassadors for modern spiritualism that we know today. And that was the beginning.
Yep. And the tapping was a form of physical mediumship?
Yes. I think it is.
I would say so.
Someone could argue that, but I think it is because rapping is physical. There's nobody here doing it. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Because basically, for it to be physical mediumship, okay, because there's, mental mediumship.
Mental and physical, yeah.
Okay, and mental is where spirit works with our faculties.
The top of your body.
The top of our.
Right, and it's a fast and light vibration. If you look at it, if you measure the vibration, it looks like an EKG. It's very spiky and very close together. Okay. Physical mediumship is a low frequency. So when we talk about a lower frequency, it's not evil. There's no demons, of course. It means that it vibrates at a very slow and very low frequency, and it looks more like a wave. Okay, when it's measured. And that works for the bottom half of your body. And a lot of physical, it's like an earthy energy. It's very thick, very slow, and very heavy. And a lot of physical mediums will not channel through the crown. They channel through their feet and bring it up this way. Absolutely. And a common mistake people think is that physical mediumship has to be done in trance. Well, that's how they teach you in SNU and in England. NSAC doesn't do that. We do it not in trance. We just allow the physical vibration and the phenomena to take place. Okay. So you just allow spirit to work with you the same way you would allow a trance. Right. And on a totally different vibration. But there is physical mediumship that is done in trance, and that's psychic surgery, and that is part of NSAC teachings.
And all of these different things that you're discussing, you mentioned trumpet, you mentioned materialization, you mentioned psychic surgery, all of these things are happening all across the planet,
Exactly.
but they're not publicized as much as
Nope.
mental
Robin
mediumship
Johnson,
is.
he's amazing. He'll levitate 6 items in the room. He all with reflective tape. Mass General has documented psychic surgery. They studied it. They document. I've seen the tapes. It's very graphic. But they had a spirit healer from the Philippines. They flew him to Boston, and Mass General documented the whole thing and studied them. It's fascinating research.
And all of this, a lot of this can be done with medium who is of the right energy to do this with, would you say?
Anybody can learn to do it. It's just like mental mediumship or doing platform or trance. It's a lot of practice. Mediumship is a commitment. You get out of it what you put into it. And if you want to be a trumpet medium, you can. But you have to practice.
Okay.
And it will happen if you study, if you practice, if you sit under a physical medium, you will become a trumpet medium.
And basically, for the listeners, the trumpet medium, do you have a trumpet there, girl? No. Did
No,
you bring
I
them with you?
don't. I didn't.
Well, actually, you just picked up a can.
Yes.
I saw you.
3 or
And
4
that's tin.
cylinders like this.
It's a tin. It's tin. It's a lightweight tin.
Yeah.
And anybody's ever gone camping, you buy those cups that kind of
Right.
collapse into themselves. That's what a trumpet does. You open it up so it can stand, probably be about at least yay
Right.
tall. And you set it in usually the dark, and that's another part of our discussion in a moment here. And you mark where it is, and you're in the middle of a seance, you do message work and whatnot. And after you finish, you want to check to see if it's moved.
Correct. Or it will levitate. The ectoplasm will just pour out of both ends of the trumpet. You'll see it all over the trumpet. Yeah.
Now, the ectoplasm, does it not, am I correct that you need to have a medium there who is of the right energy for the ectoplasm?
Yeah, you have to have a physical medium. But I've sat in a lot of mental circles, and you will see people overshadowed in a message circle. You just will. It happens. But when you sit in a circle, you have to have a clear intention. Are we doing mental, physical, or healing? And if you try and do mental and physical at the same time, it's terrible. You split the energy. The energy, that's why you have a circle, to focus and center the energy in the middle, so that the phenomena that you're trying to create, whether it's mental, physical, or healing, will happen because you have enough energy. If you split the energy, there's not enough focused on that particular phenomena to produce it.
That makes sense. It's like you're cutting in half, so it's like there's not enough.
Exactly.
You need the whole piece. You need
a little bit of each, but you're not going to achieve your desired result because you split the energy.
Right. Now, one of the simplest forms of physical mediumship is table tipping, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Isn't that one of the most popular? Can you talk a little bit about table tipping?
From Massachusetts, I've seen her take 4 tables at once and then go upstairs. Reverend Brian and Reverend Lynn Kent, I've seen them with huge oak tables, I mean heavy suckers, and they'll lift them right up, spin them around. It's Carol Lukens, Reverend Carol Lukens from the Wanawak camp in Wisconsin, amazing table tipper as well. She's an amazing spoon bender and physical medium.
Now, usually to start off working with table tipping is to get a 3-legged table, right?
Yeah, a lot of people do. Something very small and not very lightweight. Very light. Yeah,
lightweight. Yeah. And how it starts is you can feel like the table rocking, right? Yeah. But you also can receive messages from Spirit
Yeah,
too during that
because how
time,
many
right?
times it tips, you count that and write down the letter. I don't have the patience for that. I know people who God love them. I don't.
Well, yeah. I do agree with you, and but because basically what Spirit does, as you mentioned earlier, I'm trying to backtrack, try to bring all this together
With
because
the
we put a lot of information out here.
Yeah.
Is they use the ectoplasm to create what we call rods, which are like a stick,
Yeah.
you know, and they use those rods to pick up,
Levitate. Yeah.
to levitate the tables.
Yeah.
Okay, we got a couple puzzle looks on some people here. And I do want to say, our audience here right now, and of course we'll have other people listening to this, are both nurses. So they are hearing about the
Cytoplasm and protoplasm.
right,
Yeah.
and the ectoplasm. Am I correct to say that with a full physical medium, the ectoplasm exudes
It
from
will come out of
the
your
orifices?
eye, your nose, your mouth, anywhere. But what I do, I work differently, and it'll come out of your fingertips. You may see it come out of my mouth, but I'll make everybody in the audience able to produce it as well. So everybody who's sitting in the circle with me will see, they'll see webbing in their fingers or coming out of their face. They'll make ectoplasm as well. I've worked with my guy extensively on that.
And
most people think you can only do it in the dark. They're wrong. I've done it twice in the daylight just recently. Broad their realization, everybody saw themselves make ectoplasm. If you practice, it can be done. And I refuse to work in pitch dark. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people do. If you're going to put reflective tape on it, if they won't, they're probably a trickster.
And what's the purpose of physical mediumship?
To prove continuity of life and the existence of spirit. If I am doing this in the dark and nobody can see it, I have proven nothing. And I refuse to work in the dark. I will never work in the dark. You're either going to have daylight, dusk, or a red light. I won't even use blue light. I want everybody to see everything in the room. And the only reason I don't use white light eats ectoplasm. So if you have regular white lights in your room, it's going to eat the ectoplasm. So I choose to use red, but enough of them so that the whole room is illuminated. Or I will do daylight, because I'm proving spirit and continuity of life. And if you can't see it, I've proved nothing.
Okay. Now, if I'm correct, Lorraine, that going back to the heydays, back to 1848 and into the early 1900s, we'll say, when spiritualism and the mediumship was everywhere, not just in this country. It was in England, it was in France, all across the world. Okay, that people who were doing physical mediumship were getting hurt by not being in the dark. Is that correct?
No, they were hurt by people touching them. It's like if you're in trance and somebody's flash photography or sudden bangs, it's kicking you out. That can hurt the medium. I've seen mediums get hurt because somebody's batched the trumpet while it was levitating. And it will leave a mark. You'll be sore. And I know that I've passed my trumpet around a circle once I connected to it and I got sick. I didn't get physically hurt because I was handing it to them. Nobody bashed it. But once something's connected to a medium, you can't just suddenly rip that apart because they're in your body. They use your central nervous system and your spinal cord, everything. And you are so connected and blended that sudden tearing apart it's very painful.
Okay, okay. Because I'm going to say is, I thought it was the ectoplasm going back into the medium's body, almost snapping back. That was
Well,
the
that can
cause.
happen if somebody hits the trumpet while it's levitating or
Okay.
things of that nature.
Okay.
It'll snap back and it'll leave a mark.
Right, right. Now,
Absolutely.
now, obviously, we want, okay, when we talk about mediumship, whether it be mental or physical, we need evidence. We want evidence to prove that it's coming from a loved one. In the case of physical mediumship, loved ones can send items that can be recognizable to them, right?
Yeah. Or seeing the phenomena, because it's objective. Everybody in the room can see the same thing. You see it, you smell it, you feel it, you taste it. Sometimes you can touch it. It's physical. There is no doubt in anybody's mind. And that's why I refuse to work in the dark, because I am here to prove it. And the objects that I use, I get to the church or the venue where I'm working, and I tell them, go find an object, and we're going to make it move. We're going to do etherealization with it. We're going to do the trumpet with it, whatever they have. That way, nobody can say that I rigged this item before I got there. Because there's no way I'm going to let anybody say that this isn't real. So if I've never touched it and never seen it, and it moves, that's spirit. And every single person there making their own ectoplasm, that's proving spirit right there.
And I want to make a comment here that's important to say. Working with spirit, we get our egos out of the way, right?
Oh yeah.
We do not choose. It's not about us. It's them working through us. And as I'm hearing Lorraine, she's talking about, I want to do this, I want to do that. Well, you're choosing to be the
vehicle for spirit to work with.
Yes. Yes.
Now I'm just allowing them to use me to show everybody the higher teachings and that this is real.
Right.
I am proving continuity of life.
Well,
spirit is, but you know what I mean.
Exactly. And it's interesting. And I love the way things get orchestrated here. 2 weeks ago, I had another wonderful Reverend on the show, Reverend Stacy
Kopczynski. I love her. Yeah.
And the topic was natural law.
Right.
Now, natural law also plays a big part in physical mediumship, does it not?
It plays a big part in all mediumship. Mediumship and the spirit side of life is all quantum mechanics. And if we had another 2 hours, I would explain it to you using thermodynamics, vibration, gravity, attraction. I could go down the list. But it's all proven through quantum mechanics.
Okay. Yet, just touching on natural laws, you've got the desire to be a vehicle for spirit to use in the way of mediumship, physical mediumship, and like attracts like. I mean, there's what other natural laws could you think of that might fit in here?
Oh gosh, the law of vibration. The law of thermodynamics, the first law of thermodynamics proves principles, the NSAC principles, retaining your identity and physical phenomena, because matter can't be created or destroyed, it changes form. So when your physical shell dies, you become carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, and oxygen. And you nurses know that's correct. But what people call the soul is still matter that can't be created or destroyed. It changes form into a vibration, like water turns to ice. That proves spiritualism communication. Communication with the spirit side of life is because of thermodynamics.
And water is an example I often will use. water comes down in rain, water's in our oceans, it
It's a
freezes.
cleansing and it's for grounding.
Yep. But
when you do physical, you have to be grounded because it can make you really nauseous when they pull that ectoplasm. I always tell people, don't overeat before you come. Once someone pukes, it's all over.
Well, and a lot of the work that you're talking about is you're getting guidance meant from mental mediumship from spirit on how to do certain things and not to do certain things. But then you're allowing them to use you as a vehicle.
Exactly. Just as we do in trance, I just allow them to do what they wish to do to prove continuity of life and the existence of spirit.
Okay. Now, do you have to bring anything with you to give us a little bit of more understanding about what this is?
Favorite Fox sisters.
Okay.
So would you like to try? I've done etherealization on Zoom a few times and people have been able to see the phenomena. The picture might be a little big, but would you like to try?
Well, we'd love to see if you could
ectoplasm at home.
We can all be talking here, but it's like, what is the reality here? It's all, and all that we talk about, it's something you get of experience.
Yeah. You really need to experience it because like the difference between independent and direct voice is so hard to understand until you experience it.
Could you define them, please, for people who don't know?
Independent voice is where the voice comes out of thin air. There's nobody there, there's nothing, and you hear people talking. That's independent. Direct voice is through the trumpet because it's connected to the medium. Even though I'm not speaking, the trumpet is, it's still connected to me. I'm connected to that trumpet. So as long as it's under the medium's control, it's direct voice. Even speakers, a lot of people use voice boxes and they say it's independent voice. It can't be because it's connected to the medium. Even though it's set apart like a Wi-Fi would be, the medium's the Wi-Fi for the speaker. Do you see what I mean?
Well, and another aspect that I'm not sure that we mentioned, I don't think so, is in order for the trumpet to speak, that
you have to have a voice box in it.
They have to create it on the other side. They do not have. Right.
They will put with the ectoplasm, they make a larynx just like we have inside the trumpet. And that's how the trumpet speaks. And the medium has to be accomplished not only in direct voice, but in levitation for that type of mediumship. So the medium's got to have two different physical abilities that she or he has practiced and mastered in order to fly the trumpet and have it speak. But that's direct voice.
And that's an important thing you mentioned, mastering. Many people sit in development circles for years. To develop these abilities with spirit.
Correct. I said with the same teacher, it's important to stick with the same teacher because otherwise you're just getting pieces of the program. You're not getting their teachings from beginning to end. And I sat it 3 times a week for over 10 years.
Right. And yes. And also, if possible, the same place. Because you're creating an energetic place for spirit to come. That group
becomes closed and spirit blends and works with you so well because you're doing it so often and repeatedly that they're able to really work through you.
Okay. All right. Okay. First up, before we do some sort of demonstration here, Lorraine, I'd like to see if anybody got any questions. How we start there?
Oh yeah.
I love questions. Oh yeah, I knew they were coming. Here's Terry. Yes, Terry. I see the arm going.
Yes. When in the trumpet, does the voice that the recipient's hearing, the sitter's hearing, is it your voice or?
Oh, they hear the voice. The voice coming out of the trumpet, from what I understand, is usually the exact voice that you will remember the person who's speaking through it. So the communicator speaking through the trumpet, if it was your dad, you would hear your father's voice, just as you remember his voice.
Wow.
Which is pretty amazing.
Right. And you know, I haven't personally experienced a lot of this physical mediumship myself. I do remember seeing a very nice, handsome ring that Reverend Kenneth Custance used to wear.
Yes.
And the story goes that it was from an apport.
It was, yeah.
And for the description of an apport is it literally came clinging down through the trumpet and landed on the table, right?
Yeah. But it could land under your chair. I was at a church service where all of a sudden everybody had dimes under their chair. But the important thing to remember, don't touch the apport until after the circle, because I've seen them melt carpet. They're hot. When they come through, they're hot.
And basically what an apport is, it's something that can move through
walls, windows.
Walls. Yep. Through physical matter, I guess is the word.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So any other questions here before Lorraine does, to see what Lorraine can do with spirit?
I do have one more.
Good.
On the trumpet, is that one sitter the only person who hears what's being said, or does the circle hear it?
Well, that depends on how good your hearing is, first off. I would never hear it, but that's me. Somebody like my daughter has supersonic hearing. She would probably hear it. But, especially people who are older or have hearing issues, they're not going to hear it. But you will definitely hear it because it's next to your head. I'm not going to say that the person across the room from you would be able to hear it. But somebody sitting next to you or on that side of you may possibly hear it.
It depends on
you have to remember that message is meant for you. It's not meant for everybody.
That's true. It's a personal message.
Yeah, because the trumpet's flying right next to your ear. So that's a communication meant for you.
Okay.
Whereas
Thank you.
in gallery readings, everybody could possibly take the message.
Yeah.
But if the trumpet wanted to give a group message, it would give it in the middle of the circle.
That's true. Yeah. And I often thought it would be a group message, but I agree with you now, as you're saying, if there's a personal message, they want to give it personally to the person where it belongs to.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why it will come next to your ear, and you will hear the voice just as you remembered that person speaking. And I feel that that's more personal when you're doing platform work or gallery readings. Most of the time, everybody could take the message because everybody's hearing it. But I feel with trumpets, if it's right next to your ear, that's meant for you. And that's really personal to hear your dad or your husband or your son's voice. To me, that is extremely personal. And I wouldn't take that. If it was a group message, I think it would shout it very loudly in the center of the circle. That's my opinion.
Okay.
Take it or leave it, but that's my opinion.
Right. Sherry. Thank you, Terry. Good. Sherry, any comment or questions here?
You know what I do? When you know how you are trained, I guess, to do that trumpet thing, but the spirits that are trying to send the message, do they just send it, or are they learning how to be able to do that?
Good question.
Everybody in the planet has a spirit band, and you have a spirit chemist that's always in your band that will raise your vibration and lower spirit so you can work together. That's how you blend. The spirit chemists are also masters. The ascended masters are spirit chemists. They have trumpet mediums. Control spirits for trance. When you're in trance, the person speaking through the medium is a control spirit. Those are masters. People who educate, Einstein, Stephen Hawking, Robin Williams, they would be masters as well. Those are also chemists. So in order for a regular, like your dad, to come and speak through the trumpet, he would have to work with a trumpet spirit on the other side, which would be a spirit chemist, to convey that message, because not all spirits understand how to do that, especially people who are just communicating. You've got to have a spirit chemist who's a master at that to facilitate the direct voice. That was a great question.
Right, and that actually relates to that as we're going through development of mediumship,
Yep.
we're going to have different teachers, helpers,
Right.
guides that come to us to move us along the way, kind of like
Correct.
school.
Yeah.
You know, go through grade school, then you go into high school, all right? We go to
Mhm.
different teachers as, okay, what's the saying? It goes, when the student is ready, the teacher appears.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Did that
Right.
answer your question, Sherry?
Yeah, you know what I wanted to ask, so like, do they know to look for somebody like that, to like,
The trumpet control spirit or the spirit chemist would be there. So if somebody, just like my doorkeeper, everybody's doorkeeper, when you're doing message work, lines up the communicators, and you people are the recipients. So just as the doorkeeper would line them up for mental mediumship, they would line up for physical as well. And then the
Right.
trumpet master spirit would facilitate the communication for them.
Right, and I'm gonna, maybe, can I just add, and
Yeah.
the doorkeeper is also considered your protector. They watch
Yeah.
the door between the two worlds.
Nothing
And-
can enter your vibration or leave it without the doorkeeper. That's
So-
why you're protected.
Right.
That's one
right.
of the reasons. Natural law has several others, but yeah, you are correct. The doorkeeper is always in their spirit band. Everybody has one. But besides protecting you and allowing things to come in and work with you, they will line up communicators
Right,
for the
Right.
medium. Yeah.
yep. And the other aspect too here, Sherry, is that as we progress and we may get a message of, somebody may give us a message that we're meant to be doing trumpet mediumship, okay? We haven't even approached it. We're not doing anything with it. And for me, I would put out some prayer and ask, if that's what I'm meant to be doing, please assist me and guide me. So what's going to happen? The other side is going to line up the appropriate spirits so that I
Yeah.
can be trained to do it.
You know, all of a sudden, you're going to meet 10 people who are doing physical mediumship and studying the trumpet. It never
Okay.
fails.
And that right there is also some insight into anything we take on in our
Right.
lives. If there's something
Exactly.
brand new we're choosing to take on, we haven't a clue on how to handle it, ask that we be guided. Ask that we have someone from the other side to work with us. Pianists, there's some wonderful pianists on the other side. That'd be great if you want to learn to do the piano.
Those are
So
spirit
this goes
chemists
on.
also, because they're coming through. They're like Chopin could come and teach you. He would be a spirit chemist, just like Pamela said. Absolutely.
They all want to help us,
Right.
and it's about us asking for the help and
And allowing them to help.
Yep. So, okay. You got two people here talking away. It's like, okay.
Okay. I love it. I love questions. It's great.
Right,
That's how you learn.
right. But you and I both giving insight here. So, Lorraine, what do you feel like you could do? It looks like it's getting dark where you're at.
Yeah, and I don't want to work in total darkness, but do you want to see if I can, if Spirit would move the Fox sisters? You wanna try
Okay.
that?
Okay. Okay. Was that what you feel you can request?
Yeah, I'm trying to find a way to prep it up so you would definitely know if they were moving. How's that? Would that work? It's hard for me to hold my hands that way though.
It's tipped. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's,
Well, if I do it that way, is it too glary?
it is a little bit, the
Yeah.
light is hitting on it. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, and
So-
that's the dusk, so I'm trying to find a way to hold it. Wait a minute.
And you're in a hotel room, I'm guessing.
No, I'm at a friend's house.
Oh, okay.
How about like this? Too glary. see if I can turn it.
It's picking up glare.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know why everything just got really tiny. Hold on. I hit something. Here we go. Okay. Let's try this. Yeah, that's too glary. Hey, maybe if I turn this way. Sorry. Can you see that, or is it too light? Is there too
No, we
much?
can see the faces. And let's see,
How's
Marguerite.
that?
I'm trying to remember the names.
Marguerite, Catherine. Oh, you had to ask me. Marguerite, it'll come to me in a minute. How's that though? Will that work?
You can see all three of them.
Is it too glary?
No, it's the
good.
glare has calmed down,
Okay. So I'm gonna say a little invocation.
which is prayer and
Yeah,
intention. Okay, go ahead.
exactly. It may take maybe 10 or 15 minutes, but we're gonna see if we can get them to move, okay? And it's
Alright.
very subtle movements. They may turn their head, you may see them blink, or the smile change, or the hair move.
Okay,
So-
and you've seen this happen before?
Oh yeah, this is called etherealization. And I've never not been able to do it, even in the daylight. This is using gaseous ectoplasm. So we're gonna run over your time. Is that okay?
That's okay with me, and the girls are nodding, they're okay, they want to see
You
what
guys
we're
okay
doing.
with that?
Yep, that's
Okay,
fine with me too,
Perfect.
and as long
Okay.
as you can do it, you got the time to do it
Well,
too.
hopefully it's all up to spirit, but let's see what they'd like to do tonight, okay? Infinite intelligence and spirits who wish to produce etherealization, I ask you here now for our highest and best and the good of all concerned, that none be harmed, and circles open.
I'm very much drawn to the eyes and have been of, she'd be, I'd say she's the tallest of the girls.
Mhm.
Her hair, poofs out more higher up than the other girls does. And, almost as if, okay, like her eyes want to move back and forth a bit.
When we see something, just shout it out, because you're validating or allowing someone else to see what you're experiencing.
But I'm very much drawn to the eyes. And
If you look at the girl in the middle, I feel like her expression is changing.
okay,
And like you said, the eyes as well.
yep.
I don't know if anybody else is experiencing that also.
And this can be very subtle, ladies, okay? This can be extremely subtle.
You'll see the eye shift or the hair move a little, or the smile change. It's very subtle.
Okay, I just saw the smile change on the female I was just talking about, the one who's just a smidgen taller. Looking at her from here, she's on the right side. I'm almost feeling like I'm sensing the mouth kind of curling up a little bit.
Can you ladies see any changes in the women? Their eyes or their smile or something?
And you may even think you're just imagining it, okay? That's a possibility, all right? Because it's ever so subtle. Just saw another smile again on the right, the sister on the right side.
It's this one here. Can you see my finger? This one. Her
Yep.
expression's changing as well. You see
Well-
her eyebrows and her eyes, her expression will change, her smile.
Okay, I just saw the nose sort of shift a little bit, so yeah.
Terry, Sherry, are you guys able to experience this? Not yet?
Not yet. That's okay. And it may be that there's a need to kind of squint their eyes and see something, or what would you say?
No, you should just be able to see it. I'm gonna see, her hair's pooped out more than it was. See that?
The sister on the right?
This one here,
Okay.
her hair's different than when we started, I feel. Feels fuller.
It's
Okay.
hard to see who to focus on looking at the subtle things.
Well, yeah, and for me, I'm just drawn to one, and I'm sticking with one and focusing on the one. But the other thing is, I could be doing the mental mediumship, so spirit has that they could work to. Although you, Sherry and Terry, are both very intuitive. That's something I've experienced over this period of
If you
time.
watch one girl, that's how if you're trying to look at the whole thing, since there's 3 of them, it's going to be difficult to notice one of them move. So try and see if you can look at one girl and see if she moves for you.
And Lorraine, I need to say, I keep looking at the one on the right.
Yeah,
And even just looking at her, I'm almost feeling a sense of joy.
yeah.
Like I'm feeling her feelings is what I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that you've experienced?
Yeah, I feel like they're happy to be doing this. Spirit loves it when they can come through and touch him with us. So, and that's part of that unconditional love that they carry with them. They love us and love being here with us so much. It's a joyous, happy, loving feeling. And they exude that.
And I do want to say, and I think you're going to agree with me here, these are the Fox sisters. There is a lot written about them. And it's a
And the
very
history in
interesting.
Hydesville.
Pardon?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I said the history of Hydesville.
Hydesville, New York.
Yeah.
Another part of New England. I was talking about all the fabulous teachers and churches and mediumship in that area. Sadly, they were abused quite a bit for
Very badly.
for coming out with all that they experienced. People wanted to make sure that they weren't fakes, so therefore they hiding things in their body. And I mean, these were teenagers. Okay, these were teenagers when this first happened for them. So you know, there's a coloration change, and I think it's been there since we started, but it makes me think about tears. The same woman that I keep looking at, the cheek that is on the side closest to her sister, you can see the lighter color. I almost want to say I've almost felt like there were some tears in there at one point, you know. Yeah, they sacrificed a lot.
Yeah.
To bring through the wonderful phenomenon that they did. And it wasn't just their experience, there were other experiences occurring across the planet in other areas. So
it looks like the sister in the middle, that her face is getting much lighter as it transfers to the sister on the far left. And you can see like
Okay.
in her cheeks, see how much brighter it looks. But I agree with what Reverend said, that the hair is bigger on the sister on the right as well. But the sister in the middle, her face is a lot lighter.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Yeah. No, we lost Terry.
Changing.
There you
No.
are.
Okay,
Yeah.
it did, what,
Because
it
I
just,
feel like their hair got bigger as we've been sitting.
yeah, the screen
Thank you for
swapped over.
validating that.
The screens swapped over. That's what happened a minute ago,
Yeah.
you know?
Sherry, are you able to experience anything, hon?
I saw how Terry said it got lighter, but it almost looked like her face got a little thinner instead of, is more round. I don't know, maybe that's just
Yeah.
me.
No, you're correct, because I
Right.
told you the
Rounder.
facial features will change. And that's called etherealization. So I'm glad that you were both able to experience some of that.
And
It's much
yeah.
better in person when I've got a big oil painting in a church or something, but this is kind of the best I could do at a friend's house, so.
Well, yeah, well, I think this is wonderful. It's giving
But
us
we
an
have
opportunity.
definitely proved spirit.
Yep. The face of the sister on the left is changing a bit too. Is anybody sensing that? I'm more
Yeah,
sensing it.
She looks different.
Her chin, her cheekbones seem to be more pronounced and more of like a heart shaped.
It's
Yeah,
almost
because
got
eyes
more bigger in the picture than what she started off. She was more cut off in the picture, it seemed like, in the beginning. Didn't you, Tara?
Okay. The middle girl, the nose seems to have expanded a bit. It's bigger than it was. And it's losing, you know how can I say it? The structure isn't as prevalent, is what I want to call it. It's almost like the lines are less than they were there before around the nose. Okay, I got back to the girl on the right. Her eyes have changed a lot since I was looking at them before. It's almost like the between the brows and the eyes have darkened up.
Yeah, I agree.
And they've got, it's almost like there's more of a depth to the eyes. That's the best way I can call it, depth. And they're staring straight out. Whereas before, to me, they're almost like, you understand what I would say, calling, they were smiling before, now they're more deeper. Yeah. It's like the smile was in the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. Very interesting, Lorraine.
Yeah, the longer we sit, the more they'll change.
Right.
And this is by myself. It's a lot easier when I have more people to work with.
Well, and then the fact that I'm also a medium myself,
Yeah.
I'm able to tune into to sensing some of these things, because some of it is sensing too. As you're looking at something, you're using your psychic abilities to.
Well, you shouldn't have to see this.
Okay.
That's what physical is about. You are correct. Mediums are going to spot it a heck of a lot quicker, just as you said, Pamela. But
Okay.
this is so that people who are not mediums and not into spiritualism can experience phenomena firsthand. That's why it's objective without the use of clairvoyance.
The right hand, the far right woman, that area that I said was lighter, it seems to be more prominent on the left side of her face. Like there was more tears there, or almost as if she might have injured that cheek at some point.
I feel like this one's trying to nod.
Which one, dear?
This one here, I feel like she's trying to nod her head.
Are you talking, when you say here, I don't know
The one on the right, the one where my finger is. Can you?
I can't see your finger.
This one, I feel like this one is trying to nod.
Okay, she'd be on the left as we're looking at it, okay?
Mm.
Yep, she'd be on the left. Well, in this, Lorraine, something we didn't talk a little bit about is how photography.
Oh yeah, curling and photography. Yeah.
Well, but
And
photography,
precipitated art. The Bang
Yeah.
sisters. Oh yeah, they have them in the Lilydale Museum, MPI in Wisconsin, Morris Pratt Institute, and the NSAC office. There's no brush strokes, and these are amazing portraits. It's the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. It's just incredible.
yep, they're also out in Chesterfield there.
Chesterfield has some, yeah,
That's Indiana.
yeah.
There's a camp out there, and they're
It's
amazing.
They
Right.
have slates where they've drawn on them flowers and messages and poems and pictures. It's complete. I'm never bored with the things that spirit can do. It's always just so amazing and breathtaking that they can use us to facilitate such beauty and love.
Right. And you know what? The right hand sister is
Mhm.
looking more masculine.
Yeah,
I stopped looking at her and I was talking and listening. She's looking more masculine. Her features are not as feminine as they were to begin with.
And the
Wow.
middle one, look, the middle sister looks like her eyes are more wide open than they were.
Okay.
I can see more of the white of her eyes.
Okay. Yep. Yep. And you know that little patch on the top of her head next to her on the left side of the part is gotten smaller.
mm-hmm.
It was a little bigger when we started. What I wanted to say in regards to photography, that often people can take pictures, and these days, what do? We put them on our computer, we put them on our
Yeah.
phone, right? And we'll look at it and like, okay, that looks nice. And then look at it sometime later and we see it's changed.
Right.
This is spirit doing this. It's amazing. You can, yeah, it's amazing. I'm almost feeling like the next thing I'm going to see on the lady on the right side, the sister on the right, is she's going to start sprouting whiskers. Okay. That's how masculine.
Well, that can happen because I've seen them completely change. I've
Okay.
seen sometimes the people in the picture will leave and other people will come in. They'll dematerialize.
Yep. Yep.
Mm.
Yep. Awesome. Awesome. Wonderful. And
Have I proven continuity of life and spirit?
yes,
to you,
yeah,
ladies?
you're showing, and
How
she's
about
bringing
you,
through.
Sherry?
Yes.
Did
Yes.
we prove it to you?
Yes, yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Excellent. Okay, I'm going to remove the picture.
Okay, thank you.
You can see.
You have something else to show us, or are we?
Well, let's see if we can. I'm gonna hold my hand here. And hopefully it's dark enough that you'll be, what if I do this? That you'd be able to see the ectoplasm between my fingers. It's like a white mist.
Right now, it's dark between your fingers.
Yeah. You may see it on my fingertips or between my fingers.
Your thumb is somewhat white.
Yeah, I think
Your-
that's the light though. But if you
Okay.
look in between these fingers, you can see like a little spider web forming. That's ectoplasm. Can you guys see that?
I'm not seeing it from
You're
here.
not
but
able to see it.
no,
Look
that's okay, sweetheart. We got to see
here,
the
can
other.
you
We
see
got
it
to
now?
see.
Yeah, probably not with the lighting here.
Right. We were able to
Yeah.
experience the other component with the sisters.
And
That-
that's
that was
called
powerful.
etherealization.
What's the term?
Etherealization.
As far as the women, okay. The
Yeah,
girls.
the oil paintings that move, what I just showed you is called etherealization. And that's
Wonderful.
movement with gaseous ectoplasm.
Wow, wow, wow,
So
wow.
thank you for allowing me to
Yes,
demonstrate spirit. I'm going to close that portion out right now Want
Say
to
a
thank
thank you prayer.
Want to thank Spirit. I want to thank you guys all for coming and participating. And I'm going to close the demonstration part.
Thank you, dear. Thank you, dear. And
Okay.
as the girls have learned, anybody who's worked with me is you do prayer at the beginning and you do a thank you prayer at the end.
Absolutely.
Always. Wonderful. Now, Lorraine, how can people find you if they're looking to get
I
in
have
touch?
a website, ReverendLorraineRadice.com. I'm all over Facebook, Reverend Lorraine Radice, expert in the ways of spirit. I'm in the National Summit, the TNS magazine. Where else am I? Oh gosh, I'm everywhere.
And you're also listed on the NSAC website, right?
Yes, I'm in the yearbook. I'm on the website. Yeah, and you can follow me on Facebook. I'll probably be in your area because I'm traveling again and I'm all
Okay.
over the place.
Are you
in
coming? Are you coming west anytime?
I'm working on that. I am working
Okay.
on it. Maybe we can do the show together at your place.
Right.
Yeah.
With Sylvester hanging out, snoozing behind
Exactly.
us.
Yeah.
Because he is still in his bed here up on the table right
Yeah.
behind my laptop. So
But
anyway,
if you
wonderful.
follow me on Facebook, I'm traveling, so you never know when I'm gonna pop up in your area.
Yep. Is
As
there
things
anything?
reopen, I'm able to book more and more things. So
Are you
it's a
teaching
little
any?
slow.
Yep. Are you doing any teaching online right now?
Oh, absolutely. I teach every Tuesday night at 5:30. I do a lot of different free events and demonstrations for NSAC and the clubs, the National Spiritualist Teacher Club, the Licensure Certified Medium Club. So I do a lot of free demonstrations there. You can always find me.
Okay, and is that all posted on your website, sweetheart?
Yes, and no, my website is just for ordering classes and readings, mostly. And there's a contact page. If you want to find me, you go to the website, type in your info, and it immediately hits my phone.
Right. Awesome.
So if it's emergency, use the website. But
Awesome.
I'm also
Awesome.
a Facebook page for NSAC online services and classes, because a lot of the churches or venues that I show up at are allowed to post their NSAC events.
Awesome.
I know-
Awesome. And don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if Lorraine is a guest on the show again sometime down the road, because I'm sure and I'm putting it out to Spirit and to Lorraine. I'm sure there'll be a topic of something a little different, or something that's going to be informative that will come forward.
I'm a wealth of information.
Any
Like
questions?
our gorgeous host, Pamela. I'm
Thank
so
you.
honored to be on your show.
You're welcome,
It's such
sweetheart.
a privilege.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. Any quick questions for Lorraine? Anybody?
That was awesome, is all I can say. Thank
Yeah.
you very
Yeah.
much.
Yep.
I'm so
we
glad
had-
that you
yep.
enjoyed it.
Yep. And thank you for allowing us to be patient. That's what
Yeah.
part of it is about.
Because it takes a little while for the ectoplasm to build up, but
Okay.
thank
Do
you for allowing me to serve Spirit and to serve
right.
you.
Right. And do you have a light that you could turn on that
Oh, yeah.
before I close the
Sorry.
show, people can see what you look like? How's that sound?
Hi.
Okay. And I want to thank Reverend Lorraine Radice, Radice, and for an awesome knowledge in regards to physical mediumship, and an example of the term was again
Etherealization.
etherealization. Okay. And I know a lot of these terms, but that's a big piece why I have chosen, and I need to tell you, and I don't think you knew this, I've chosen not to become a reverend. It's like too darn hard, difficult for me to try to memorize a lot of these terms. But anyway, I'm here to support all of you people who want to share and talk about it.
But we're here to support you. You're teaching, you're a spiritualist, you're spreading the seeds of love and peace and harmony.
You're
And
sweet.
you're doing so much work for NSAC and the cause of spiritualism. So
You're
it's a
sweet.
great honor and a privilege, not only to be your friend, but to be a guest on this show.
Is she a marshmallow or what, ladies? I'm teasing. I'm teasing. Thank you, Lorraine. Now, I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. Next week's show, I believe it's going to be pets. And I'm trying to remember the title, but that's okay. I will be doing the show and we'll be connecting to your pets, whether they're here or on the other side, and seeing what kind of messages we can bring through for them. Our pets are such an important part of our lives now. I know I'd be lost without my dear Sylvester. And I know Lorraine and I had conversation, and she's traveling. She doesn't have a pet at home. She's always had a pet. And a pet is a big deal for us all.
So much love and healing.
Yes,
But
and you have
Pamela, please send me a link for next week.
okay, and I will send, and I'm also going to send you a link for this for everybody who's listening, whether you're listening right now as we're closing up the show, or you're listening here in the future weeks or months. This will be posted on YouTube, and please let other people know about the recordings here. There's some great people with some wonderful information. And, it's not just informative, it's also enjoyable to
Oh,
be
yeah,
able
this
to
is fun.
see and to learn about all these wonderful gifts of spirit. It's the bottom line. So this is Pamela Marie Edmunds, and we're saying thank you, Lorraine. Good night,
Thank
Sherry. Good night,
Good
Sherry.
night.
Big
Good
hugs to
night.
everybody,
I
and
love
take
you.
care. Keep safe, and still remember there's a lot of people out there that could use some good positive energy and some good thoughts. And know that all that's happening on the planet is all for the good. We got to remember that it's all good. You may see some challenges. Yes, there's been a lot of loss, yet in the bottom line, it's all for the good. So God bless you all. Have a great night. Talk to you all later.
Thank you. Good
Bye.
Bye-bye.
night.
Good night. End meeting.